Hello everyone and welcome to this cherry heart crochet tutorial. I'm Sandra and I'm going to show you how to make this nice bubbly border that I added to my Rosie Posie square blanket. So in my last tutorial video I showed you how to make these crochet squares, the Rosie Posie crochet squares. I'll link to that video below. And I also have a photo tutorial for that with the written instructions, so I'll link to that below as well. So I've just done a small sample here to show you how to make the border, and I've assumed you're okay to join your own squares. You can do that however you like, crochet or sewing. I've crocheted mine and I've crocheted them together from the back, so I've got a little ridge there, and from the front you can barely see the join. So if you wanted to join yours the same way and you're not sure how to do it, there is a link to a photo tutorial. I'll put that below the video as well, showing you how to crochet squares together. So let's begin. I started my border with this pale pink colour and I made a kind of edge around first. So I'll do the same thing here. If you're confused about any of the crochet stitches I use in this video, I do have a tutorial website with photo tutorials on with all the stitches on. It's called Crochet Corner. I'll link that below as well. And I'm also in Britain, so I tend to use, well, I do use UK crochet terms, but I will put a little key up here with the American terms on as well for you. So I start by joining the yarn in any corner. And I just make a chain to begin, and I'm going to do a round of double crochet stitches. So if you're American or used to American terms, that's US single crochets. So I'll make one crochet into the corner, I'll make a chain and then a second crochet into the corner, and then I just make one crochet into each stitch all the way around the blanket. So one stitch into each stitch of the squares. So I've made my stitches along the square. I'll just make one into the last stitch, and now I'm at the point where the two squares meet, and I've got the corner space. So I'm going to make a crochet into the corner space, and then instead of going straight over to the next corner space, which you can do, to bring these sort of together and to make a nice clean join across, I make a decrease stitch over both of the corner spaces. So I insert my hook into the space, yarn over and pull through, insert into the next space, yarn over and pull through, and then I yarn over and pull through all of those together. So that's just a double crochet together, double crochet two together in UK terms, and then I carry on along the next square. So all the places where the squares meet and I've got two spaces together, that's how I make that join, and then I just carry on working into each stitch until I get all the way round to the beginning. And then for each corner I just make one crochet, one chain and one crochet all into that corner space. So that's one double crochet, one chain, one double crochet into each corner, that's UK terms, and just one stitch into each stitch along, and then where they join, one crochet and then a crochet together across the space as I showed you. So I'll work all the way around in the same way. So here I'm back round to the beginning, and I'm just going to do a slip stitch into that first stitch that I made, and that completes the round. So then I'm going to work a second row, and I'm working around the stitches for this one. So I'm just going to take my hook to the back of the work. So I'm just going to take my hook out of the loop, insert the hook in that same stitch, but from the back to the front, pop that loop on, and just bring that to the back of the work and make a chain. So now I'm going to be working around the posts of the stitches. Again, if this is something you're not familiar with, I do have a tutorial on this on my Crochet Corner website, but this is just to show you how to make the border, not to explain how to make every stitch. So if you do need more help, that is there. So I've made one chain and I'm now going to make a double crochet, a UK double crochet or US single crochet around the post of that stitch. It's a little bit awkward to force it into that first one. And this will make the V's from this first round of stitches lean forward and make this nice border line that we've got here. So I'm going to make 2 chains in the corner this time. And then I'm working, so I'm putting my hook from the back to the front on one side of the stitch and then pushing it through the other side of the stitch, yarning over and making a double crochet or US single crochet. So I'm going to do that for every stitch along the edge here. So I'll just try and show you that in a very close up. So inserting from back to front to the back again, so the stitch, the post of the stitch is on the hook, the yarn's coming through and then completing the stitch. So I've worked all the way along that edge. I've just treated that decrease stitch where I've worked the stitches together just as one and just worked around it in exactly the same way. Now I'm at the corner, so I'm going to work around that first stitch into the corner space in the same way. Then I'm going to chain 2 and then just work around the next stitch in the corner around the post in the same way. That's how I'm working the corner. I'll just carry on around to the beginning again. So here I am round to the beginning again, and I will just do a slip stitch into that first crochet to complete the round, and that's the end of this pale pink colour. I'm now going to start using the dark pink, so let's cut the yarn. So for round 3 I'm going to join the new yarn to the space from round 2, and this time I'm going to be making treble crochets, UK treble crochets, that's American double crochets, to make these granny clusters or granny shells. So I'm going to chain 4 to start, and then I'm going to make 3 stitches into the corner space to be the first shell. Then I'm going to work along the edge, so I'm going to skip 2 stitches or miss 2 stitches out, and I'm going to work another 3 stitches into the third stitch. So the stitch count might not be exactly right for this to work out along to the corner, so I may have to skip an extra stitch here and there just to make the numbers work out. But as a guide, I'll be skipping 2 stitches between each set of 3 crochets that I work. So here I am at the corner. Now I actually counted ahead and found that I would need to skip 3 stitches to reach the corner. So that's fine, I'll just skip 3 instead of 2 for this one. And I'm going to make 3 treble crochets, US double crochets, into that corner space. Then I'm going to chain 2 and then work another 3 crochets into that corner space, and that's going to turn the corner and give us a nice square corner. And then I'm going to work along again, making sets of 3 stitches and skipping 2 stitches in between. Now, because I'm doing a square and I know I had 1 extra stitch along this way, I'm just going to skip 3 to start. And then I know I'll work out perfectly for the next corner. So don't worry if you do have to skip through a few extra stitches just to make everything work out along the whole edge of the blanket. You'll never notice. So I'm back round to the beginning of my blanket, and to finish I'm just going to complete the corner. So I'm going to make 2 crochets into the corner. That's UK treble crochets or US double crochets. And then the starting chain that we made will count as my 3rd crochet for this side. So I'm going to just put a slip stitch into the 3rd chain of that beginning 4 chains. So I'm just going to work it into there. And that makes that chain look like the 3rd crochet. So now we're on to the 4th round. So I'm going to make a slip stitch into the corner space just to bring the yarn into the corner. And I'm going to work 3 double crochets or US single crochets into this corner space. So I'll do a chain to start, and then I'll work my 3 crochets. And I'm going to work along the side, just making 1 crochet into each stitch all the way along, and then 3 crochets into each corner space for round 5. So I'm back round to the beginning, so I'm going to make a slip stitch in my first stitch to close the round, and then to get into the centre of the corner I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch as well. So that gets me in the middle of those 3 corner stitches. So now we're ready to begin the 5th round, the final round, the pom pom round. So we're going to start with a chain and just a double crochet or a US single crochet. And I'm going to chain 7 to begin making the pom pom. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we're going to make a bobble into a chain, and that's how we're making this pom pom. So it's going to be based on a double treble. That's UK terms, so that's a treble for in the US. So I'm going to wrap the yarn around my hook twice, and I'm going to be working into the 4th chain from the hook. So I'll count down from the hook, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to insert the hook into that 4th chain. So I'm going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 hooks, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, sorry, yarn over and pull through 2 loops again. And I'm going to leave it at that stage. So I've got 2 loops on my hook, and I'm just going to keep repeating that. So yarn over twice, work into that 4th chain again, the same place, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. So now I've got another one on there, another 3 loops on my hook. So I'm going to do that until I have a total of 9 loops on this hook, and that's what makes the pom pom so nice and big and fat. So yarn over twice, into the chain, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. So I'll keep doing that until I've got 9 on there. It does get a little bit tricky to keep feeding them into the same place and keep pulling the yarn through the loops. So you can do less of these if you want to. If you're finding it too difficult, you can do maybe just 8 or 7 if you want to, but it just makes the pom-poms a little smaller. How many have I got now? 2, 4, 6, 8. So 1 more. Oops. Right, so I've got all 9 of my loops on the hook, and I've got all of my stitches ready, and I'm now going to join them all together. So yarn over and pull it through all of those loops on the hook. And then to close the pom-pom up, you can see it's started to curl round on itself. So to close it up, I'm just going to work into that 4th chain yet again, so into that same place. And I'm going to slip stitch. So I'm going to pull the yarn through and through the loop on the hook and pull that nice and tight. Then I'll work 3 chains. So there's our pom-pom. And I'm now going to do a double crochet, a US single crochet into the round 5. So I tried to space it about 5 stitches apart, so roughly 2 of these clusters here. So I'm going to put my next double crochet there. So again, you will need to adjust this spacing to sort of fit nicely along your blanket edge, but I found that worked out about right. I used the clusters as a guide, and I had one about every couple of clusters. So if you haven't got an even number of clusters, I didn't on my blanket. 2 of my edges I had a nice even number, so that worked out perfectly. On the other 2 edges I had an odd number. So I just spaced it slightly differently just to sort of lose that kind of anomaly. So there was a few where I had them a little bit closer together, but just so it visually looked about right. So I'll show you again how I made the pom-pom. So 7 chains to start. Yarn over twice, and we're going to work them all into the 4th chain when you count from the hook. So you don't count the loop on the hook, it's just the ones under it. So 1, 2, 3, and I'll work into this 4th chain. And I'll yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And I'll keep doing that until I've got 9 of these loops on the hook. You can use your fingers to kind of push the stitches out the way to reach that chain, to try and wedge them in there. As it starts to get, the pom-pom starts to get a bit bigger, it gets a bit harder, but like I say, you can just adapt it if you want to. You could have less stitches if you were finding it too difficult to collect 9 up on your hook. But I like to make my pom-poms as fat as I could. How are we doing? 2, 4, 6, 8, 1 more. So once you have all those lovely row on your hook, yarn over 1 more time, pull it through all of those loops so that curls round and makes a nice pom-pom, and then you can make a slip stitch into that same chain, that same 4th chain that we've been working into all along. And just give that a little tug to pull it up nice and tight. And then 3 chains the other side, and then space it roughly 5 stitches apart. So the other thing you just need to know to complete the round is I tried to end with a space, sort of space the bobbles out, so I ended up with a double crochet or US single crochet into the middle stitch of the corner spaces. So you want to aim for the middle, and then you can make these have a longer dangle if you would like to. So you could make a longer starting chain. So if you made a chain of 8, then worked into the 4th chain from the hook, and 4 chains once you'd completed your bobble to make this longer, or you could do 9 and 5. So if every chain you add before the bobble, you want to add 1 chain for after the bobble as well, and then your bobbles will dangle down longer if you want them to. So I'm back round to the beginning again, and I'll just do that last slip stitch into the first stitch, and we can cut the yarn. Just move that yarn to the back. And there we are, pom pom border.